cold calling worked all the time. Now, depending on your market, it might not work at all. I was one of the pioneers that really brought cold calling to the forefront. If you do close a deal your first month, hell yeah, hallelujah, and it's totally fucking possible. But do not gauge all of your success off of that. But never trust a VA with 2 computers. I'm not firing you because I hate you. I do not hate you.
Yes.
I instead have to follow my policy because it keeps my culture better at my company. When you train someone that they do not have to work hard when they work for you, you can almost never get them to work hard for you again.
Welcome back to the Outbounders podcast. In this new episode, I have a special guest. His name is Nicholas Nick.
That's me, baby.
Funny, he has the same name as his last name and his first name. I was the first person I actually met like that.
Really? Oh, nice.
It's like Omer or Esteban.
Yeah.
No, it's Nicholas Nick.
That's right.
So, brother, I met you for a long time now.
Yeah.
I don't know how I met you. I think it was like Facebook groups. You're very engaged into Facebook groups. You actually put a lot of content. And I remember you do like mindset tips daily.
Yeah.
You also put value where you're teaching people. Sometimes you also do some controversial content. And I'm saying it, that's what attracts me, right?
Yeah.
And but you've been in the real estate space for some time now. How long you been now in the real estate?
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
crazy.
a long time.
Yeah,
dude.
it's wild. It's wild.
I started in the real estate space about 5 years ago. So you've been double. And so you've been through all the ups and downs of what's going on.
Yeah,
With all these,
right.
with the markets, the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
When people were doing so much better than before.
Good point.
It was less competition.
Yeah, it was like the Wild Wild West when I started.
Yeah.
You know, and cold calling worked all the time. Now, depending on your market, it might not work at all. Right? Yeah. So it's like, back then it was like the heyday.
What were the main ways that investors were getting deals back then?
Direct mail was so big. The company I worked for a real estate education company, and all they taught was direct mail. And then everyone was getting so frustrated because it feels weird to be taught something or to pay for an education, and then they just go, well, pay this direct mail company to send out mail. They're like, well, that's not a skill. And so so back then, like, I was one of the pioneers that really brought cold calling to the forefront. I got them off the direct mail and onto cold calling years ago. Mainly because people were batting their eyes. You send out 5,000 pieces of mail, you might get 4 calls back then or something, and it's like 5,000 pieces of mail may have been $2,500.
Yeah.
So I brought in cold calling because it's zero cost. It's just time. So I say cold calling is if you have a lot of time, and direct mail is if you have a lot of money.
Dude, so you obviously were in the side of education. Can you tell who you work with before?
Yeah, I work with this company called Clever Investor.
You work with Clever Investor.
Yeah.
And Clever Investor, isn't that the guy from what was it? The guy?
The guy's name? Who owns it? Cody Sperber.
Cody Sperber.
Yeah.
Sperber. He exited that company, right?
I do not know. I know that he has something called the Clever Investor podcast, which I don't know if it is still a thing.
I thought he sold his Instagram.
I don't know. Yeah.
I thought that's what I kind of heard.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it was. He had millions of viewers.
Of followers. Yeah. Yes. One thing they did great at. I remember when I worked there, their video team. He had a whole in-house video team, 5 guys. I would just crush video, and they just blew up. I remember when they hit 1 million followers, and this was 10 years ago, on his page from Kellen. So I wouldn't doubt.
Yeah, that guy's a fairly good marketer.
Yeah,
I mean, he can be on camera, he can run ads, he can be chasing. If he launches a product, he'll get you.
Yeah, right.
So props on him. But how was it like seeing everything from the education side and having to, let's say, push this affiliates to direct mail and having to teach people that had no idea about real estate at all and like guide them to the right direction? Because you as an educator, I'm pretty sure you will know not everyone was going to make it.
Right, yeah, right.
So how do you guys put a line in the middle, or like put a line somewhere where like, okay, we're actually selling something that people are not going to be successful at?
Right. So my job was, I was not in sales. I was actually the director of fulfillment, is who I was. And so it was my job to make sure that all the students were successful.
Oh, there you go.
So the first thing I would do is right after they bought, I would call them the same exact day. And I would say, hey, how's it going? Nick here. I'm the Director of Student Services here at Clever Investor, and welcome aboard. It's like, first thing I want to let you know is the road to entrepreneurship is a frustrating road. It's like, but now that you know that, it's already less frustrating. I would say you're welcome. And then if they were really excited,
Should we be?
we might be okay.
I could go for it.
No, you're good. But so then, I used to say the road to entrepreneurship is frustrating, but now that you know that, it's going to be a little bit better on you. And then if they were really excited, like, oh, I'm going to close a deal this month. And I would say, okay, let's talk about that. I said, so if you went over to your friend's house today and he had a piano and he said to you, hey man, I'm going to sell out stadiums this month. You'd say, oh, did you ever play the piano before? No, I haven't. All right, so you're going to go from not playing a piano to selling out a stadium in a month. And what I would try to let the investor know is, like, when we see an instrument, we respect the time that it takes. I have to take lessons, I have to practice, I have to hone my craft, I have to sell out a small room, I have to sell out a medium room, then I sell out a stadium, right? It's like, it's all steps. But when they're an investor, they just like want to make $100,000 their first month. And although I love that energy, what my goal was to make sure they didn't hit disappointment. If you have a goal, I'm going to do this in this month, and then it doesn't happen, guess what? You're going to be mad at yourself. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to want to quit, right? So my whole purpose of telling them about the piano was to remind them that it's going to take time. If you do close a deal your first month, hell yeah, hallelujah, and it's totally fucking possible. But do not gauge all of your success off of that.
That's very interesting, man, because you essentially, you knew at the, like, from before you had your agency, your cold calling agency, how to properly set up expectations with clients and create like a really good experience, a roadmap for them to get those wins at the right time without expecting that the big win is going to come soon. But you definitely created an expectation on timeline,
right,
with the things that you were coaching them.
Right.
You were a coach, essentially.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't want people to come in and get so excited that as soon as they hit a hiccup, they want to quit.
Yes.
Because that's what happens, right? We do that everywhere in life. We go, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. Boom, first roadblock. I'm done. It's not what I thought it was. I'm upset. I want to quit. So my goal was to help control their emotional response by letting them know it was going to take time.
Yeah. Does that happen more often? Is it like the same with people that have closed already deals? Let's say they go into your program. Let's say they work with lead mining. They've closed a few deals. They've done driving for dollars. Maybe they've gone a lot of referrals. Maybe they've done like JV partnerships. They've done like, I don't know, reach out to agents, and they're ready for investing into marketing, right? They're ready to like going all in into marketing. But then again, you have to put expectations. They're not getting deals fast. They're not, closing. They're not following a sales sequence, sales process. Mm-hmm. Do you see that people, even though people are already doing deals, do they behave differently or the same as newbies? People that have never done, they have no idea about business, they've never closed the deals.
No, I think the newbies have it the worst. What happens is they just don't know. I had a woman hire me once for 500 dials. She got 9 leads and she called me up and asked for a refund. Yeah. Right? A veteran would be like, dude, I've made 500 dials myself. I didn't even get 1 lead. How the hell did you get 9 leads? Yeah. Right? And I remember that woman, I'll never forget that day. I said, why do you want a refund? She goes, everyone wants to sell in 3 to 6 months. And I said, well, guess what? You want to buy in 3 to 6 months, don't you? It's like, that's still a great lead. You still should call them and follow up and chat with them and stuff. And so, But yeah, so it's like the veteran normally has some good experience. A lot of veterans will say, Nick, just give me a raised hand. I'll do the rest, right? Because they know the game. As to where new people, sometimes they think it's mailbox money. You know, oh, I'm going to do this thing and then it's going to show up I'm going to get a check in my mailbox, right? Well, no, you have to do your part.
Yeah.
I'm just going to provide you someone that wants to sell. You need to now get them to sell for the right price.
Yeah.
I'm just providing you the desire. You now need to put the work in to get the price right. It's not just like I send you a lead and then the deal closes. But that's why I have free courses I give away that tell people how to get there. Because I learned that they have all these mismet expectations. So one of my courses is all about exactly what to say and expectations. And then I have another course that gives them actually scripts and everything to read to the seller once they get their leads. Because I want them saying the right thing. Like, you don't have to fail forward when you use us. I already know what you need to say. We've been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah. Do you follow so it's basically it's a sales script, right?
Yeah.
Do you follow any methodology,
No.
any books, spin selling,
No.
straight line persuasion, or
So
something?
the number one thing, I'm glad you asked. So, you know, I created my whole system based off customer service. So my whole system is based off of getting the seller to fall in love with you, right? Well, how do we get people to fall in love with us? We do what we say we're going to do. We show them that we have compassion. We listen to them when they speak, right? So because I come from a restaurant background, I am doing that same exact thing. We want to show them that you have integrity and you do what you say that you're going to do. And then once they fall in love with you, you can get the house for whatever price you want. So my whole strategy is based off of rapport, but not rapport through tricks, rapport through consistency. Rapport through integrity, rapport through, hey, I'm gonna call you at 2 tomorrow. You actually fucking call them at 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
You do what you say you're gonna do, and when a seller sees that you're who you say you are, it's gonna go way better. So I kind of teach integrity and emotional intelligence is kind of my strategy.
That's very interesting. That's cool. So, if for example your company is called Lead Mining
Pros. Yeah.
Lead Mining Pros, leadminingpros.com, right? It's a guy that has a
Pickaxe.
Yeah. Right? Is that you?
Yeah, that I did. You know, what's funny about that logo is I said make it look like me, and then I put her through the ringer so hard to make that logo for me that after she delivered it to me, she blocked me on Fiverr.
Wow.
I paid her $200, but I kept having it because it was my company logo. So I was like, put a cape on him. Okay, take the cape off of him. Okay, put this on him. Like I kept having her do, and she's like, and I think
because it's you.
Like, right? Yeah. It's like right.
You want to do good.
It's important, you know. So I think I was being like so difficult that after I got it from her, she's like, I'm not doing any revisions, but I didn't need her to. You know, she did such a great job the first time. Cool.
Unblock her. Unblock him. Unblock him. All right. So, what's your ideal client profile? What would be an ideal person that hires Lead Mining Pros, and why?
So the main thing is someone's probably cold calling themselves, and they're out of time, and they have maybe a good paying job, and or maybe they've closed a deal and they've got some money saved up and they want to outsource it. So that's number one. The second person is someone who was just burned by a VA company, right? There's a lot of fake VA companies, which is why, you know, what your partner Omer does is so important with the remote Latinos, because they're like your employee. Some of these VA companies out there, you know, you're like, I have this really funny saying, and it is, they say don't trust a man with 2 first names, but never trust a VA with 2 computers. Right? And so a lot of these VAs out there, these VA companies, it's like one person with 6 computers, right? And they're not really focused on what you want them to do. So then those people will find me too. Like they just got burned or they just spent a lot of money on a VA. So those are the 2 that generally come to me. Or it's a seasoned vet who's ready to try out either American callers or going for foreign callers at volume. Or they're done with launch control and all the custom scripts and all the crazy stuff that some of these companies make them do. So yeah, it's the new guys or it's the veteran. The veteran really appreciates what we do because he might be making a lot of profit, and he goes, I'd much rather just pay Nick than have my own team and manage them. And I had a guy say to me once, he goes, Nick, you know why I like what you do? Because if I had cold callers, I would now own a lead gen company and a real estate investing company. He's like, I don't want a lead generation company. I just want to close deals. And I really loved it when he said that to me. Because the truth is, if you want to be great at anything, you have to treat everything like it's its own business.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, here's a cold caller. Well, is he any good? I don't know. I gave him a script and he works 40 hours a week. It's like, well, no, I mean, that's not really working. It's like you need to work with him and train him and develop him and work with them and then duplicate him and then hire his partner and then keep going. And so with us, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, it makes sense, man. It sucks that you actually that people have had bad experiences with VAs, the double computer VAs and stuff.
Right.
Amir actually just created a YouTube video that talks about 5 different horror stories that he's had, that he's gone through with virtual assistants or just remote workers as a whole. And one of them is double work, actually, just double dipping essentially. Yeah.
Right. Who can blame them? I'm not even I don't even necessarily fault them.
Yeah.
If I was,
they're trying to be slick, smart.
That's right. I'd have 5 fucking computers. And you know what? And I'd probably do a pretty fucking good job working for 3 of them. But it's we have to be honest. That's what I would do if that was my culture. So it's I'm not even mad at those people, but we have to be better managers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right? It's we can't let that happen. People are going to do that.
Yes, 100%.
We need to have greater leadership than their tricks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So apart from having a lot of experience and time in the industry, obviously, what's the sauce of lead magnet? What's the real sauce whenever they call people?
It's consistency, man. My script is so good. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I'll give you the script. Hey, I'm sorry to bother. I'm looking for the owner of 123 Sycamore Street. Yeah, that's me. Oh, great. Oh, my name's Nicholas, and I was wondering, have you ever considered selling before? It sounds so stupid.
No, yeah, it's very Jeremy Minor, actually.
Very what?
Jeremy Minor.
Yeah, is it?
Well, Jeremy Minor starts excuse me, is this the owner of whatever 123 Jump Street? Yeah, could you maybe can possibly help me with something?
Right, you want to sound confused.
Yeah.
You do.
And it's pattern interrupting.
All right.
It is pattern
Well,
interrupting.
it's giving them also time to think.
Yes.
So Americans want to say no. No. They're like, no. We don't, what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you won the lottery? No. We want to fucking say no to everything, dude.
Right.
And so you speak slowly and you sound confused so they can digest what you're saying.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And what's funny is I had some people, they try to recreate my script. Well, no, Nick, I say, hey, is this Bill? And I'm like,
but it's super fake.
Yeah, right. And don't get me wrong, it works a little bit, but man, let me tell you, if you get the bill wrong and it's Ross, they're hanging up on you.
Of course.
So you're also narrowing your success margin.
Yes.
And the truth is, Ross could still fucking own the property. Maybe it's the brother. Maybe it's the father. Maybe it's somebody else, right? And so it's use the script that works, and be consistent. I had one person be like, I don't really follow a script. And they were proud of it. And I'm like, for someone who does 60,000 cold calls a week, that sucks.
Yeah, of course.
And here's why. If you do not have a process, you are just being emotional. You're doing however you feel in that moment.
Word.
That's right. And if you're in a bad mood, you're going to do bad things.
For the people in the back.
Yeah, that's right. Say it again for him. But it's true. It's if you don't have a process, you're being emotional.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're right about that.
And take it from a guy who has a lot of processes. And let's take an employee. You mess up. Well, I'm writing you up. Well, you didn't tell me you were going to write you up. You didn't tell me you were going to. Okay, well, actually, if I had a pamphlet and I showed you the first mistake is a warning and the second mistake is a write-up and the third mistake is a termination, that's different. But if you just make a bunch of mistakes and I punish you when I'm in a bad mood, you're going to be like, you're just being emotional right now, right? And I'm like, no, let's reference my policy.
Yes.
My policy says this is the third offense and that means you're fired. I'm not firing you because I hate you. I do not hate you.
Yes.
I instead have to follow my policy because it keeps my culture better at my company. Yes. Right? Now, if that doesn't exist, guess what? I have a bunch of people around who are disciplined, who I'm disciplining, but no one's really listening to me.
So, question. I know you have the rule of if they're not generating a lead every 2 hours, they can't continue working in your company, right?
Right.
So how do you enforce that while it keeps the pressure, it keeps accountability? Obviously, you have a process that should be working. So how do you enforce that to someone that is not meeting those expectations? And then maybe like, how do you make sure that they actually get to the point where they can meet those expectations?
So what I do is I have my best cold caller. She's my trainer. And when someone dips, she works with them. She's been my best cold caller for like 6 years. Okay, so she's not new. And then she gives them tips for 2 weeks. The thing is, follow the script, have a good attitude, listen to my manager's tips. That's it. That's really all you have to do. And my theory is, if we provide you with all of the training and all of the tools and all of the things, and you still don't do it, it's not on me.
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, and it's not even you're fired. It's, hey, this isn't working. Right? And it's because my clients have to be fucking taken care of.
Of course.
I can't let a shitty cold caller come through and then when they get everyone else, but when they get Sally fucking tanks the campaigns. Like, I think also because I came from restaurants, right? Every cook has to cook the burger the same exact way. Every guy that makes the salad, we all have to make the salad the same way. Every server has to greet the table the same way. So it's very common for me to operate in these standards, right? I've seen them work at huge fucking scales where it's like, one of my IHOPs I used to run would make like $20,000 a day. And for an IHOP where everything is like $2, like that's a lot of fucking sales. And so you see these systems happen over time and you really can't deviate from them. So when someone makes a mistake, I put them back into training for a week. I make sure, okay, hey, we know you made this mistake here, but you're not following the script. Start doing that. Start talking slower and start sounding more positive. And if you're grumpy, don't work, right? Because if you're grumpy, you're not going to get leads. And if you don't get leads, you can't work here anyways. So you might as well, if you're pissed off, do not come to work and work for us. Because that's the thing with us is everyone makes their own schedule. Everyone decides. We're like Uber. I don't tell them when to work. They make their own schedule. So they need to self-govern themselves. And they now need to go out of their way not to call
You pay them per hour?
Yeah, per hour.
How do they track the hours?
Hubstaff.
Hubstaff, okay, that makes sense.
That's what we use. Works great.
What's your thoughts about paying per hour versus salary?
Stupid to pay people salary. Salary, I worked for salary for 13 years.
Okay.
And here's what salary means. If I pay you salary, that means I think you work too little and you think you work too much. That's what salary means. Because
I'm the people in the back.
It's true though.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, hey, you need to work more. You need to work more because I want to get more out of my motherfucking money. And you're like, but I don't make any more for working more.
Right.
So I need to be working less.
Yes. Whoa, yo, that's a, wow.
Yeah.
Say it again for the camera.
Okay, yeah. So when you pay somebody salary, it means they think they work too much and you think they work too little. That person, they're trying to work less and less and less and less because they're making a flat rate. And you're trying to get them to work more and more and more and more because they're making a flat rate. Instead, let's be fair, come up with an hourly rate you both agree upon and manage their fucking performance.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And you know what? When their performance goes through the roof, give them a fucking raise.
You hear that, Amir? I think we gotta do that. No, honestly, because like we are getting a lot of people that we're essentially diluting their work now because we're hiring too much, but we're not really able to measure
Right.
the amount of work that each person does have and provide.
Well, and then here's the other thing that happens. Okay, I'll take it to the next level.
Yeah.
When you train someone that they do not have to work hard when they work for you, you can almost never get them to work hard for you again. If I become your boss and for 3 months I'm like, you don't have to do anything, Esteban. You don't gotta do shit. And I'm gonna pay you. In 3 months, when I get fired and my new manager and your new boss shows up, all right, Esteban, let's go. We gotta fucking get to work. You'd be like, whoa, the last manager, he didn't care if I didn't work.
Right.
And then you end up quitting or you end up getting fired. So one thing I've learned about employees is once you make them lazy, it is really hard to make them active again under the same leadership. So the other thing that I do is I make sure I keep them busy.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they get lazy, as soon as they think I'm not watching them, I'm fucked. That's what I've learned. And take this from a guy. So when I ran restaurants, they constantly put me in. I was an area manager, so I worked in a lot of different restaurants. And I would go to them, and I'm really not. I guess I am a hard-driven manager. But when everyone's working hard, it's just called working hard. But when I come into a lazy restaurant where nobody upheld any standards, I literally could never, ever turn someone who sucked into someone who's great. You can turn someone great into someone who sucks, but you cannot turn someone who sucks into someone who's great. So and I've done it, I've made this mistake. Sometimes you're better off firing everyone and starting over because you fucked up as a manager. Hey, you know what? I fucked up. I've been too lenient and I cannot get these people to work hard again, so I need to replace them one by one. I've done that probably 3 times in my career.
Holy shit.
And it's about you taking responsibility for what you've done. You want to be like, well, these employees fucking suck. Well, honestly, it's probably you.
You suck.
And
but
you need to...
Now everything's fucked up.
That's right. And you know what? Firing someone, I love firing people, first of all. But firing someone is always a good move.
Yeah.
Okay? I've never, ever fired someone that didn't deserve to get fired. I've never, ever fired someone and things didn't get better the next day. Okay? And the trick about firing people, watch what happens in your business. Right after you fire them, people are gonna come up to you out of the woodwork. Oh my God, she was stealing. Oh man, she was smoking crack out back. Like I remember I fired people and then all the other employees would come up to me and just start telling me all these horrible things. And I would be like, why didn't you tell me earlier? I could have gotten rid of this person months ago. But the employees, they keep each other's secrets sometimes. And not even if they hate them, they'll keep their secrets.
Right.
And then the other part is, by the time you're actually ready to fire someone, you should have done it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Because you've been so blind to your own love for that person that you've been ignoring it. And it's like, that actually should have happened 6 months ago. Those are my lessons.
Let's finish this podcast, man. This was fire podcast. So, entrepreneurs, if you love this podcast, this is how you truly manage people, take care of people. Nicholas Nick is a wealth of knowledge. He not only has one of the best cold calling services in the space and future partner of ours for Facebook, for everything we do online marketing, and future partner of Remote Latinos. I'm calling it right now. But he comes in with tons of experience actually working for small businesses, as a small business owner. This guy right here, he looks 25, but he's like 54. No, but he's 40. He's 40 right now.
Yeah, 40 in April. Yeah.
40 in April. Yeah, you're an April baby. You're an Aries.
Taurus.
Taurus. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, late April.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are both Taurus. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I thought you were an Aries.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of crazy.
My mom's an Aries.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
probably why I was raised by one.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like Taurus.
Yeah, me too.
And Aries too. All right. Thank you for watching this episode. It was an amazing one. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel and also give us a comment. Share it with someone. It only takes about a minute to literally share this with someone. Give us a review. Take less than a minute. And tell us who would you like to have in the podcast. Thank you for listening, and let's go.
See you. See you, brother.